RGB!
Crunchy fan.
Hey folks, we're back with Grateful42.
I got a media computer now.
Yeah, you may remember this computer from years and years ago and we made a video of it. This was when we built an FX4100 based system. For your mom, right?
For my dear sweet mother. She didn't want it anymore. I got it back.
Well, it's back again, so we decided to make it a media center PC. And Grateful's idea here was to just stick Linux on it and play DVDs and watch Netflix and Crunchyroll and whatnot.
Watch stuff. Plug it into a TV.
Yep. So, most appropriate background ever, Grateful Dead. And what we've done here is pretty simple stuff. We stuck Kubuntu on here, the Linux distro. It's Google Chrome, GNOME MPV, VLC Media Player. That's about as simple as it gets. Now I know some of you are asking why not Kodi. Well, what do you think about Kodi? That was what Xbox Media Center has become.
I've never used it.
That's why. That...
You put me on the spot.
Well, we could use Kodi, but if all you're going to do is log into Crunchyroll or something,
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, I don't know. I guess you're like me, and it's just I like having a computer,
Yeah.
just a computer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've done this. Now the way we've set it up is quite nice. On Linux, of course, you can have the multiple partitions that make up an installation across multiple disks. So we have the root partition on the 120 gig SSD, and the home the swap is on there too. And then we have the home partition on the Seagate drive that's the main hard drive in this machine.
I forget the size of it.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
It's like 240 or 300 or something.
Something like that. But that's set up, you know. So now it's a viable Linux machine and a media center machine at the same time. So that's an update on this machine. Not much to say about it other than it's still around and it's still kicking. It's an FX machine that still works, still going, which is nice to see.
It's dusty.
Yuck. So we thought you'd update guys. Wow, I can words today. We thought we would update you guys on that. So that's it for today.
On to the next project.
The next project.
Windows 98 coming at you hot and ready.
Hey folks, back for another video. This might be the same part as the other segment we did. I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. But anyway, we're back with the old computers. You may remember this cute little Micron Millennia from months and months ago.
Too long ago.
Well, these machines too. We got all three of them set up. And they're mostly set up with all the same software configuration. We already went over the hardware before, so we're going to show you what we did software-wise. And we chose the middle of the road machine to do that because, well, it's tiny and convenient to move.
It's also cute.
It's adorable. But
Did you plug it in?
It is plugged in. You have to hold it down.
Oh, there it is.
And we shall demonstrate what we have done software-wise with this machine. Micron! Now the goal of these computers, as we said before, was to basically have a bunch of vintage computers around to do LAN things. Yes?
Oh, I burped. That was awful.
Ugh. Ah, yes. We have this gigantic, not even 10100, just a 10 switch.
This has been in my family for 84 years.
I was there 3,000 years ago.
No, the Switch, back in my early Oh no, what did it do? Did it die? No, it's okay.
And just didn't set the time, I think.
The Switch, I've had since the early 90s. My dad had it when he was building computers. And I have very fond memories of that Switch running like a 8-machine LAN in my grandmother's basement.
Ah, yes.
I want to recapture some of that feeling.
And we will do that with...
An out-of-sync monitor.
Wow. Windows 98. I was gonna say Windows 98, but I think this this NVIDIA card needs a bit of a chiropractic adjustment. About that.
Ooh. Seizure warning.
We don't need seizure warnings here. 30 frames per second, baby. So we decided to go with Windows 98. Second edition, of course. 128 megs of RAM is about the middle of the road for a lot of the stuff that we've done here. And we did manage to find drivers for all the devices. Now, there's a program I'd like to mention that really helped out with that.
I didn't know this existed. This was a really good find.
Yes, I had heard people mention it, but I never actually used it. Everest. Everest is an amazing program. If you have an old computer that you just can't identify what's in it, get this program on your computer immediately. It is infinitely useful. I'll just show you the summary. We named the computer Tiny Micron. It'll tell you the CPU type, the chipset, which is good for getting the drivers, of course. Type of BIOS you have. It'll tell you exactly what your video hardware is, even down to the monitor itself. The audio adapter, the IDE controllers, all that stuff. And it can go, even Ethernet cards. There's a 3COM card in it. Even shows you the IP address on that particular card. Okay. Now, this program helps tremendously when you can't identify what's in your system, because you can write down or take a picture of, which is what we did, the model numbers of everything you need, and you can go search online and see if you can't find the drivers. And that made life a lot easier. I went from being very discouraged helping out with this to very pleased to have all 3 machines working thanks to this program. So I gotta give props to this one. This one saved the day.
And our sanity.
Especially our sanity. You can see all the drivers and stuff we have in there. But basically, we stuck a bunch of games on here. Half-Life runs okay on the Pentium 2 system. Runs just fine on the 2 Pentium 3 systems, including this one. What else did we put on here? After Dark, of course, for screensaver fun. Sid Meier's Civil War collection. SimCity 2000 with the Urban Renewal Kit.
Yes.
Half-Life and Opposing Force.
No Blue Shift. I'm sad.
Yeah, I don't have Blue Shift, unfortunately.
Blue Shift.
See, you can install Blue Shift.
Of course I have Blue Shift.
I have it, but it's on Steam, and
yeah,
you know how it is. So, let's open up Half-Life and show you exactly what we... Yeah. Okay, so I forgot to enter the product key on this machine. I must have not tested on this computer.
No, this was...
But it's an 8 meg video card. It'll be fine. I remember coming into Grateful42's basement when we first met in high school and playing this game on a couple Windows 98 white boxes you had.
They were on the half a pool table in my room. I remember it fondly.
Those were some fun days, I have to say. And that was the first time I ever saw this Sierra version of Half-Life.
You'd only had the Mac versions.
No, I never had the Mac version. I had the version for iPod Linux.
Ooh.
It was a Doom wad for iPod for like iPod Linux.
That's gross.
It was really bad. If any of you remember that, comment, please. Those were hilariously bad times. So what we're after here is multiplayer. And of course, a LAN game is what you want. And essentially, create a game.
Yeah.
the old-fashioned way. Start a server, have people join the game, have yourself a good old-fashioned LAN party. And the nice part about the Sierra version of this is it's basically Half-Life Deathmatch. It's not separate like it is on Steam. I wasn't aware of that because I never really explored this program much until Grateful himself told me earlier today.
It's the original good old Half-Life.
Yep. So this is the idea for this whole thing. I'd like for us to shoot a video in the future of that happening. I don't know if we're going to do that, but I would like for that to happen at some point. That'd be pretty cool.
Wow, how dare you suggest we wouldn't be playing games together?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That ended up dramatic and it just kind of faded away. But that's essentially the goals for these machines. There's also other games. I think Command and Conquer was another one you mentioned.
StarCraft, Command and Conquer, definitely. Tiberium Sun. Probably gonna be some Civilization 2. My dad loves Civilization 2.
Yes.
I like Civilization 2. The Gold Edition has so many awesome custom scenarios. I got sucked into the Mars colonization one. I love that scenario to death.
Sweet.
Gonna be doing Age of Empires.
The Age of Empires for the original Gold Edition, right?
Yeah, I have the Gold Edition, and apparently it had like there was an expansion for the original Age of Empires that I stumbled across. I think I have that on a disc somewhere.
Oh, cool.
I got some weird games. There's going to be lots of games.
We're definitely going to have to make a video about that sometime. That's going to be pretty cool. Well, that is the software setup for these machines. And more games, more fun, more everything. The fun part about these, the easiest way to test whether you have networking on Windows 98 is to see how bad the internet looks on it.
Oh, God. I can't believe you've done this.
So we tried Google. And that looked fine to me, anyway. Tried Bing. And that looked horrible.
It doesn't age.
So that was my college-educated, certified, like, networking test of Windows 98. I would say it passed with no color at all.
Look, it got you to the internet. I don't know why we've done this.
Why have we done this? Why have we done this?
But there we go. So the same software package is on all three computers.
Yes.
And I'll probably be updating my Windows 95 machine to 98. Then we'll see what happens. Actually, no, I think it's a 98 machine.
Is it 98?
It's been a year since I turned that thing on.
I remember you had that little Trinitron plugged into it at one point.
No, it's still there, under a pile of storage behind a fish tank.
Yay, fish tanks. Well, well, there you have it. That is the software setup for this computers, at least as far as we've set them up so far. They aren't fully baked with all the games and everything, but that is an example of a good old-fashioned LAN setup. Get yourself a nice basic Windows install. In 2018, struggle like crazy to find the drivers you need when when Micron's website has none of them anymore. And eventually install the games and be on your way. Pretty simple as far as concepts go, but you know, if you're not used to finding drivers, you're going to really hate yourself.
It's not easy, but rewarding.
Yes.
On a spiritual level.
We managed to do it, though. We found the drivers, thanks to
that program.
That program that I can't remember. Everest, that's the one.
Yeah.
So, there you have it. That is the software package.
Did we actually use Phil's Computer Lab's website?
I should mention that. We found Phil's Computer Lab's website, and it had a lot of useful stuff on it. But
I don't think anything we needed, though.
Yeah, I think it was video drivers or something.
Yeah.
But it turned out the video card driver he had was different than the video card
Yeah, apparently
you
there's
had.
weird video cards in all these computers.
Not all of them. One of these had a creative 3D blaster that was an NVIDIA card. It was the most bizarre thing I've seen in a while.
But we found the drivers for it.
Yep.
Somehow.
Yep. They were somewhere. Managed to find them, so if you dig hard enough, you can find what you're looking for. And I think that's about all there is to say about these things. For the most part. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We haven't told the story about the Pentium 2 machine yet.
Oh, no.
Oh, that was interesting.
BIOS password hell.
Let's go look at it while we complain about it. This is what I like to call the miserable Micron. It was also sold as a Dell, funny enough, and I really wonder if the Dell version was as much of a pain in the ass as this thing was. So, yesterday, we were installing 98 on all these computers. That was a Saturday. It led into Sunday. It led to Sunday morning, of course, as computer shenanigans do.
Only because of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Because of this damn thing. So here's what happened. First, we had a BIOS password problem, which you guys witnessed in the previous video about all these computers, where each time you turn the computer on, it would just ask for a BIOS password. I think what happened is the motherboard was configured from the factory to have a BIOS password for some reason. I can't imagine why somebody would be that sadistic and awful that they would do that. But it's just mean. It's just so mean. But, what we ended up doing was just doing the jumper configuration thing again, and then moving the jumper back. And what had this thing keep its settings was, of course, a new CMOS battery, as you would probably imagine. The other thing that happened, I don't remember if this was in the last video, but the zip drive front cover and the light tube were very sad.
So yeah, that popped off in the last video.
So there's just a black hole there. What's the other thing that happened? Oh, that's right. So this machine came with Windows 95, right? But it has a Pentium 2 MMX 233 in it. This thing would be used with 98 a year after this was made, no problem. So
they would probably sell the machine with 98 because they had leftover stock.
Exactly. It'd be it'd be like a discount computer, I guess. But anyway, we put the 98 disk in, started installing it. It was a bit slower than usual because the hard drive in this computer is 4 gigs and quite slow. And we get it fully installed finally. Windows protection error. Reboot. Windows protection error. Reboot again. Windows protection error.
My soul.
This was at 3 in the morning.
That's when we called it.
We were like, nope, nope, we're done. This thing sucks.
A fresh install of Windows 98 should not immediately trigger a Windows protection error.
No, it really shouldn't. It was truly a Duraga 1 moment. There was a video he did where he kept running into the same thing.
That was a good video.
Yes, it was. And so I literally say to Grateful last night, this computer is going back in the corner of misery.
And there it sat.
Which is just beyond the air conditioner over there in the corner. So I bring it out today, just before Grateful gets here again. I boot it up. It boots right into Windows 98. No protection errors, no problems.
First time.
This thing is a troll. Like, it has some personality, let me tell you something. So I was just like, okay, let's just roll with it. This is the first computer we fix up, put software on, get everything running on, and it actually went without a hitch, surprisingly. And each time we turned the computer back on, no protection errors, no nothing, it just worked. And the first time I booted it up, all the drivers were there. I didn't have to install anything. So, I don't know if that was karma or what, but this computer is like, it's my worst enemy and my best friend at the same time, because I didn't have to go search for drivers.
It's your best frenemy.
Yes, but I still had to poke its butt for the BIOS password, still had to poke its butt for the Windows protection error. The miserable Micron makes me miserable and makes me want to die. But I didn't give in. This computer is now part of the fleet, although it doesn't have a network card, which makes it a bit sad. But that can be improved upon.
I got extra network cards lying around.
Yep.
I'll find one that fits and hopefully has drivers.
Yep. But that's the story of this machine. The machine behind it you see there is the gateway, the 700 megahertz Pentium 3 gateway. That machine, of course, went without a hitch as well. So this was the only computer that just had to have a frickin' problem. So...
Look, he grew up in a troubled neighborhood. You can't blame him.
The poor kid. He didn't know it was coming to him. And that is the story of the miserable Micron. So we got all these computers set up, all ready to go. Now, I would say that this was a job well done. Over 2 days, we did it. We got everything done. And these computers can finally go back to Grateful42 after staying in that corner for 2 months, being bums in my apartment.
Look, I left some vagrants here. I paid for it.
Yes. But yes, these computers sat in the corner waiting their turn. They finally got their turn, and now I think they're finally going to get a good home and good use with old games. The best use for an old computer. So
exactly.
I think that's where we will conclude this particular video. If I get a chance soon, we'll take a look at these computers actually in the land doing their thing. I think that would be part 3. So hopefully that happens in the future. We'll see. But yes, that is where we end this video for today. So have a good one, everybody. Ciao.